Thank you for joining us for the Barbados Today evening news for Thursday, November 23rd. I am Marie-Claire Williams. The opposition Barbados Labour Party says this week's IMF report is a further indication that the government is going down the wrong path. The IMF warned that government has a slim chance of achieving its deficit target this year, following Finance Minister Chris Sinclair's presentation of a $542 million austerity package in May. BLP candidate for Christchurch East Central, Ryan Strawn, told a news conference this afternoon that he's also concerned about the current state of the foreign reserves, and he's accusing the Freundel-Stewart administration of failing to implement policies that would improve the economy.
Last year, during the fourth quarter, this country lost 4 weeks of reserves. 4 weeks. During October, November, and December of last year. There's nothing within the trajectory of Barbados today that suggests that a similar performance will not occur this year. And so, having introduced a suite of measures designed specifically, as Marcia mentioned, to one, boost reserves, reduce the deficit as well as the national debt in general, and to generate growth, I'm again concerned. And so, having heard just a couple of weeks ago that we had 8.6 weeks of reserves at the end of September, and with a similar performance anticipated for the last quarter of this year, then it tells me that the report, in essence, confirms that Barbados is again going down a slide, something that has not been adequately corrected or adjusted on the part of the government. But the thing that really concerns me, and I just want us to remind ourselves that cost of living was job number 1, number 2, and number 3 of this government. And since July of this year, every single Barbadian would have seen a substantial increase in their cost of living.
Luther Thorne Memorial Primary School will remain closed tomorrow to allow for cleanup of the premises due to environmental challenges. Yesterday, emergency services were called in after students and teachers complained of respiratory problems. The school will reopen on Monday. Local Met authorities are advising hotels on the coast to pay greater attention to weather advisories. The warning came this morning from the Acting Deputy Director of the Barbados Met Services, Clement Williams, in his address to a disaster management seminar hosted by the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association. Speaking on the topic, definition of weather updates and response to such weather updates, Williams said it is not only critical for the safety and guidance of guests, but also for the better protection of staff and the facilities.
You and I know that most of our tourism plants, most of our hotel plants are relatively close to the coastline. So you have to pay extreme importance when small craft advisories and small craft warnings are issued. Right? Because your properties, more than any other, are the ones most likely to be impacted. Not only your properties, but your guests and your visitors. So you have to be able to provide guidance to your guests who may want to go and have a little swim or so, where a small craft warning or small craft advisory has been issued.
4 schoolboys appeared before Magistrate Elwood Watts in the Oistins Magistrates Court today, charged with inflicting bodily harm on a 13-year-old Deighton Griffith school student on November 9. The incident occurred as the boy was walking home from school along Churchill Road, Christchurch. The charges stem from a social media posting and a voice note showing a boy from the Deighton Griffith school being attacked and beaten by several boys from the foundation school. 3 are aged 13 and the other 15. The 15-year-old was remanded to the Government Industrial School, while the 3 others were bailed at $1,000 with 1 shorty to return to court on January 31st. As part of their bail conditions, they are barred from the compound of the Deighton Griffith School. They have also been placed on a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. In more court news, 27-year-old Daniel Haynes has been bailed at $10,000 after appearing in court today charged with several traffic violations, including causing the death of June Knight last month. Haynes is accused of causing death by dangerous driving, driving without due care and attention, driving without reasonable consideration for others using the road. He was also without a driver's license and insurance policy, and he is due to reappear in court on May 18 next year. And as part of his bail conditions, his passport has been revoked.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To the region now, authorities in Jamaica are assessing losses after flash flooding wreaked havoc in Montego Bay yesterday. Several businesses remained closed today as Prime Minister Andrew Holness and other senior officials toured the hardest hit areas. We get more in this report from TVJ News.
Commuters stranded in the Montego Bay city center as taxi and bus operators are reluctant to move.
Coming to Montego Bay trying to reach home, and we couldn't come further than the first part of Kentucky.
And they had all reason to. The scene on the streets throughout the town, vehicles submerged under flood waters.
Oh yeah, all the water was way up on top. Way up on top, my friend.
This is the result of non-stop heavy rainfall, the effects of which started to play out early Wednesday afternoon. The gully at Harbour Street overflowed its banks, posing a threat to motorists, pedestrians and businesses in the area. Businesses like Island Grill. When the water subsided, we ventured in, but not for long, as the flooding prompted an early close to the business day. There was flooding too inside the St. James Parish Court. This is the view from the health center's car park. But at the Ruby's gas station on St. James Street, car on car at the pump and on another section of the property. On William Street, big losses too for the owners of the Star supermarket. The goods were everywhere. The flooding one person blamed on blocked drains. But with more rain on the horizon, there are concerns that the devastation will be worse.
And further afield, hopes that the 44 crew members of a missing Argentine submarine may still be alive have been dashed after the Navy said that an event consistent with an explosion had been detected. A nuclear test watchdog said the abnormal non-nuclear event was recorded in the South Atlantic last week. It follows a U.S. report of a loud noise in the same area. The ARA San Juan disappeared last Wednesday, and more than a dozen countries, including the US, Russia and the UK, have sent assistance. Relatives of the missing crew say they are anxious for their return.
Yo creo que puede terminar mal.
Hay esperanza, tener fe, esperar y rezar, ¿qué va si no queda otra?
Yo no tengo duda que va a volver.
And that's news this evening. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good evening.